Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Ty back here with another video. And in this video today, guys, we're going to be talking about which starter card you guys should pick to start your team in NBA 2K23 MyTEAM. Now, I'm going to preface this video by saying all three of these cards are attainable. So let's say you want Ja Morant and Jimmy Butler. You can get them both. But who should you ultimately start your team with? We're going to be breaking down each and every one of the options. Now, what is the basis of my video? How do I know what I'm talking about? Well, I went around because a lot of people got the early access. So I've got some knowledge from a lot of people that did get the early access. And there's been one guy that has been definitely ahead of the other two when it comes to the starter cards. Now, in years past, we've seen 5 starter cards. This year, we only have 3 of them. And so I feel like that makes the options, the pick, quite a bit easier when you've only got 3 of them, and that one is quite a bit better than the other 2. And honestly, guys, different from past years, I'm not to say starter cards have been horrible in past years, but different from past years, I mean, these starter cards are actually pretty solid, right? And so that's something to keep in the back of your minds, as well as, you know, don't necessarily just blow past these starter cards and just select the one that's in the middle and you know, move on. Take a look at these starter cards and figure out which one is going to be best for you in your specific squad. So we're going to start off with Ja Morant. Now, rumor on the street, and I don't know if this is true, but rumor on the street has it that Ja Morant is better than Steph Curry. Now, do I think that is true? Well, I don't really know. Again, I'd have to use both of them myself. But I have seen that Evo'd up Ja is very fast with the ball. I think he has an 80 plus 3 ball. Maybe it's an 81 3 ball, which is very solid as well. And just as far as getting to the rim, attacking the rim, and just, I mean, creating shots for others, you need a point guard that is going to do that at a high level. Now, again, cards this early on are weird pricing wise. I mean, last year you can go back and even just a decent average point guard in the auction house would be like 10 to 20,000 MT. And you guys might not think that's that much MT or that's going to cost you too much. But it honestly, it adds up because it is tough to make MT early on. And so that's just some things that I think you guys should keep in the back of your guys' minds when it comes to the starter cards. Is you want a card that, you know, can help you build your MT, help you build your account, help you grind, whether it's domination, triple threat offline, even some online modes. You're going to want just a card that's going to help you get through modes. And I think Ja Morant, not going to say for sure, but I think he can be a great start for that, right? Especially when you evo him up. He's got a decent enough 3 ball. He can attack the rim. He's got good dribble sigs for what we know so far. And I just think starting your team with Ja Morant would be a solid option. Now, Jimmy Butler is up next. Now, I can't sit here and say I've seen what an absolute, maybe an Evo Jimmy looks like, but obviously these cards aren't all going to be rated super highly. So with Jimmy Butler, his 3 ball is not going to be that high. It's not going to be, you know, the elite 3 ball. Now, with that being said, Jimmy's got a new release this year. And if you watch my channel's other vids by this time, you guys will see and recognize that Jimmy Butler's release, it's a little more interesting, right? He leans back. The way I would phrase Jimmy Butler's release is it's a fadeaway, but he leans back like LeBron James's. I don't know if it's still, but LeBron James's old release on current gen, where he leaned back into that animation. Now, Jimmy's release is hard to contest, okay? And so I want you guys to know and understand that, you know, when you're using Jimmy Butler, if you shoot a shot that doesn't look like an open, it might be an open, or it might be like a 20% contest that you still can green. But on the flip side of things, his release is not quick. It's not, you know, the smoothest or easiest of time. And so all those things have to be taken into consideration. Still with Jimmy, you know, early on, he's going to be one of the probably best defenders in my team. Early on, you know, day one, he's going to be up there with being one of the best. But on the flip side, you got to make sure offensively you are getting what you need. So for Jimmy Butler, I'm not going to sit here and slander Jimmy in my team. I think he still can be very useful. And after you do, you know, upgrade the guy I'm going to tell you to get, then you can set your sights on upgrading Jimmy as well as the other guy. But I just don't think, for me, Jimmy Butler is necessarily the right option. Last, guys, we got Joel Embiid. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that centers are important early on in my team. And I agree if it's a guy like Shaq, right? With Shaq has that specific player model, has that specific player build. With Joel Embiid, I just don't know if he does something that's, you know, that great and that unique to really solidify himself. Now, that's not me saying Joel Embiid is not useful. That's not me saying he's not going to be one of the best centers on day one in my team. But from what I have seen, what is Joel Embiid going to help you grind, right? You go into domination. Is Joel Embiid really going to help you that much? I mean, maybe get rebounds, maybe stuff like that. But as far as creating his own shot, unless his post fade is glitchy, which I guess time will tell, I just have a hard time seeing Joel Embiid be that first option. Now, again, after you do Evo the first guy, I think you get an opportunity to get the second starter and then the third. But I just have a hard time right now, as I'm telling you guys, thinking Joel Embiid is the best option. He's a center, probably going to just be a limited guy overall because he's not a guard. And for me, how is that going to be better than what Ja Morant gives you? You're talking about Ja Morant, day one, being super quick. Obviously, defensively, we know Ja Morant's probably not going to be great. We know that. Ja Morant, defense, they don't necessarily always align with each other. But on the offensive end of the court, Ja Morant's release is a lot better than it used to be. That's important to know. Okay, he's got a decent three ball, which on day one for a starter card, I really wasn't expecting. And as far as getting past the defenders, he can do that as well. And when I went to any streams today, I've seen Ja Morant. Somebody even had Steph Curry on the court, and they did more with Ja Morant. And so for me, it's hard for me to pass up a guy that potentially day one could be one of the top point guards in the entire game. We know day one point guard is probably the most important position in the game, getting through game modes, grinding the game, whether it's domination, triple threat, heck, even some online modes, it doesn't matter. Ja Morant is going to be that guy for you. Or even if it's helping, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid get their Evo, if they're, point scored, stuff like that. Ja Morant can do that as well. And so, guys, I think there's one that is definitely ahead of the rest, and that is Ja Morant. I wasn't sold when a lot of people were saying, definitely get Ja Morant as your starter card. Day one, he's going to be the best. I wasn't sold on it, right? Because without seeing the card in action, I just don't think it's reasonable to make that type of a prediction. But after seeing everything that I've seen so far, I think it's Ja Morant definitely ahead of the rest. If I'm wrong, I'll make sure to tell you guys, because obviously I'm going to use all of these cards before it's all said and done. But from what I've seen and what I've experienced, at least this morning, I do think we've got to talk about Ja Morant being a step ahead of Jimmy Butler as well as Joel Embiid. I do believe all these starter cards are good and are useful, but I definitely think that starting your team with Ja Morant is something that each and every one of you guys watching this video will not regret. That's gonna wrap it up for our video today, guys. Hopefully each and every one of you guys did enjoy it. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new. As always, man, I love you guys, and hope each and every one of you guys has a blessed day.